And how do I like full screen the jaunt? Hmm. View, gallery, speaker. There we go. Or it should just be normal. Immersive? No. Hmm. Slow. Hi, it's okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Nice. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
How have you been? It's been ages since I've seen you.
Oh my goodness, no, come on. I mean, it's
What?
been like a few months. You're right, you're right. But yeah.
Yeah. You've been okay.
Yeah, I've been okay. Just in a transition of my life, like the next season of my life. And so
Yeah, yeah.
that makes me like wary or like worried. But then I'm like,
I
oh, like
bet.
I should just like let God, like go through the motions and let God, organize it all for me and like, of course, be like structured and organized my life myself, of
Yeah.
course, but like rely more on God instead of worrying about stuff.
I know about that one. Right. Well, we're finally here. It's taken us ages.
That's okay,
I've been
there's a
promising
time
it
for
to you
everything.
for so long. Honestly, I thought that I was going to get baptized by this time, but because I realized it might take a whole year to like get baptized. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make you wait a whole year for this. So here we are.
Oh my goodness, okay. You could totally baptize yourself unless you want a
No.
Christian to do it.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. I don't know. Have you Oh wait. Do you know okay. It's because I want to become an Orthodox Christian. So they take their time, you know.
Okay.
You you first it's not actually first you have to come to church a few times. And afterwards, you go through catechism, and you're supposedly, when you get baptized, you have read the whole Bible. And yeah, it's a bit different from normal um, baptism, the Protestant, let's say, baptism. So,
Like they want you to be a member of the church.
yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's Christ's body, so for me, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy you're able to finally share your testimony.
I
That's
mean, testimonies are a bit ongoing, aren't they? Do you not find so?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm still alive and like,
Yeah.
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 But sharing your testimony to other people is, also spreading the good word, right?
Oh, well, hopefully, yes. Even though I've taken kind of like a different approach to it now, but yes, I do love what you put up on your YouTube, so yeah, I will be
I
supporting you.
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been very passionate about it because when I was like a kid in Christian camps and stuff, it was fun and I'm going through the motions and like I'm learning stuff, kind of. I'm listening. It was like one ear out the other, you know.
No.
Um,
I've
and
had
and
that
I
too.
didn't
Yeah.
grasp the depth of it
Mm.
all, like what it actually meant
And
spiritually. You know what
I
I
think we'll
mean?
never really grasp that, like in its fullness. I don't think we really can ever do it. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, there's different levels, isn't there? And then yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. All right.
But
Shall
if
we
you're
get?
ready, yeah, are you ready?
Are we ever ready? Come on. Are we ever?
Well, we
No.
prepare, you know?
Well, yes. I mean, I've prepared like half a page. I mean,
That's okay.
honestly,
Yeah.
honestly, when I was talking to you at first, I wanted to go very in depth, but I've realized let's not do it here. I think if I ever do if I ever do a testimony of my own, I would like to go very in depth, and it might take like an hour, an hour and a half video. And I don't. I think that for your course, I think my testimony can be really shortened and just made very simple and straightforward in some aspects. So I'll try and do that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you hold all the power. So, you share
Well,
as
I
much as
wish.
you'd like, whatever you
Okay.
want, you're comfortable with.
Oh,
I think first would just be like a little introduction of who you are, right? Who's this lady? And
who's this lady?
then yeah, and then just talk about your life before you knew Christ.
Oh, goodness me. Oh, that wasn't really good. Um, all
But
right.
first,
So,
first introduce yourself. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, okay. So, hello. I'm Teresa, and I was born in Mallorca, Spain, 2003. I don't know if I have to give much more details, but that's it. And when I was 14, I'm going to skip a big bunch of my life, but when I was 14, I moved to England with my father first, and then because mum had a business in Spain, so she took a whole year to finish with it. And then she came and joined us here in England. So we came here especially because I had this little dream of when I grow up, I'd like to study in a British university. But I thought that would be like much later, not when I was 14. But mum and dad were like, you know what, we would also like to change and see like a bit of the world. So we were lucky enough to get here before the whole Brexit happened. Well, was happening, but the borders weren't closed yet. So we got here and I started studying in a Spanish school and finished my high school there. So I think, yeah. And that's when I first started to learn, because I thought I knew some English, but then there I realized I did not. So I had my first few books in English, and it was a really, really good experience. Had very good grades, which really enabled me to then apply to an academy with it. I didn't need a scholarship, but it was kind of like it wasn't public. It was funded by someone, but because of the good grades, I just got in and studied for free. So that I'm
Mhm.
really grateful for that. And in there, I did international baccalaureate. And if I thought I had learned some English in this first year being here, I realized I didn't. I was like, because I had all my subjects in English. So economics, psychology, maths, English, French. And I always miss one. Oh, physics. Did I mention physics? Yeah. So all that in English. So I was very lost, got very big headaches out of it. But I managed it somehow. Sometimes you just have to, jump into the water. So that's what happened. And ended up with, yeah, decent grades. I had a place in Bath University, which is South England. But around the first year of international baccalaureate, called the C19 happened. So
Right, right.
I
Yeah.
did most time online more than in school. And when I was finishing school and starting uni, supposedly, I there was still some restrictions around the whole V. I don't want to mention any words
Right.
here,
No, no,
but
no. Yeah. We're
yeah,
speaking code, but yeah,
yeah, we're
yeah,
speaking code
yeah.
exactly. So, but the funny thing is that since since my early childhood, my mum had started to change and be curious about nutrition and all these things that the public doesn't really offer. you know, like the system doesn't really offer like recovery or you know, from chronic health issues because she was chronically ill. So she
Mm.
started looking for answers. And because of that, I had 12 allergies. I now have 0 allergies, let's say, just because of how, yeah, it's my mom. She's amazing. We changed our diet, we swapped things, we kept investigating. So I think that conspiracy theory wise, we had kind of like a bit of a leaning. We were worming towards it. And when C happened, C19, it took us 2 weeks to realize, yeah, this is just a big scam. So, yeah, and it was pretty isolating just because of what I believed and was even a bit ostracized in my school because of it. But I don't know, mind, you know, since childhood, I've been eating like weird stuff in my school. So people are like different towards me, but that's all
Mm.
right. She's toughened me up. Um, what else? So, yeah, I was supposed to go to Bath, but as the restrictions were still going, I was like, you know what, let's try. My mum came up with the idea of studying in Spain. It's lovely. It's so ironic how I just came here to study in here and then I ended up studying back in Spain online. But it is how it is. And I ended up studying business in the Open University in Barcelona. Um, and yeah, I've been doing that since. And yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride since then because that same summer, around 2021, I started having eczema around my around my finger, which actually I have it now again a little bit, but it's all right. And I realized, well, I realized that I wasn't actually as healthy as I thought I was. And I thought, well, it will go away, hopefully. It did not, it just kept spreading. And then it appeared on my face, it appeared on my cheek here, and then on different parts of my front and my nose. And then it started spreading to different areas of my body. So I'd say that was a very dark time for me. Um, really, really dark time. Because first of all, I lost kind of like the sense of purpose because all my life I I had been studying or thinking that my life was kind of like set, you know, like I'm just going to do well in school, I'm just going to go to uni and get a good job and that's it. But since not going to an actual uni, the whole experience was different. And I was here all alone, like with my parents in the countryside. And on top of that, I had eczema and I didn't want to socialize because of it, which is really dumb, isn't it? But I think
No, I get it.
women care about it, I'd say, especially if it's on the face. It's a very my identity got really shattered. Yeah, and I think what happened then was that I went to the Czech Republic. I think it was 2022, summer 2022, and I knew that my grandparents had this really strong chemical, and this kind of salt that you're supposed to dilute in water. You dilute a few grains of it in water because it becomes really, it has a high pH. So it's very alkalizing and oxidizing. So it, you know, medics and people in hospitals use it to disinfect stuff. So I thought maybe if I powder this over my face because I hate it so much, it will disappear. I struggle with self-hate at the same time because, yeah, I think everything is very interlinked. So I opened the eczema and I powdered over. And the moment I did that, it started burning. And when I tried to take it off, it was incrustated into my skin. Um,
Mm.
so we went to a nearby doctor, and they said, "Nah, you've got to go to hospital. I can't really do anything with this." So after an hour, we got to hospital, and I was there for the next 2 weeks, I think. 1 or 2 weeks, 1.5. And it took, I think, 5 days for it all to come out. And I had second-degree burns. So,
Wow.
yeah. And the eczema was still there. So now I got a burn and eczema. I think after that, my mum realized how much I struggled with it. And we found a naturopath, and I started taking some stuff, and initially it helped. It cleared out of my face, but it then went into different areas of my body, so not really helped. But the fact that my face is clear is really helpful. Was really helpful. Um, Nevertheless, he gave me a homeopathic. I had a very severe reaction to it, and I think the fact that I was getting better, my hopes were also getting high, and the fact that it plummeted and I got worse again just left me all broken. If I thought I was broken before, this time I was like, was the purpose in all of this? Like all this struggle, all this pain, and just hating how I looked, and
Mm.
goodness me, it was really bad, and I started being very mentally unstable. So I I stayed in the house. I would cry. It was proper like we went to different charity hospices, or there's places that are run by charity and are for mental health. And they do like different clubs or whatever. And my mum would drive around to see if someone could help me. And I was just completely shut from the world. I was not cooperating at all. I I had no sense, no purpose, no. It was so bad. It was so bad. But as the time went by and the side effects kind of like went away, so I returned kind of into a normal. I think what also helped is that I reached out to a guy which I had a crush on, and because we had this correspondence, I could I had a sense of being valued, which isn't the greatest thing ever, but it did help initially, and I'm very grateful for him um, to keep the conversations with me,
Mm.
and because I felt less alone. And I think it was at the end of 2023 when I had been a few months realizing that I cannot keep going like this, and that no one can really help me, that I'm just by myself, and that's it. And then I came across this one book. It's called The Untethered Soul, which I really recommended everyone to read, but I wouldn't do so now. But it helped me initially because it gave me the idea that that's when the whole new age thing started.
Mm.
So there was this, it sold me the idea that there's this universe that loves us, and that we're here to experiment life and to just ride the waves, and that we have to accept whatever comes our way and just ride with it. So I was like, right, yeah, I haven't been exercising much. I haven't really been looking after myself. And I actually don't know how to do that because I was so ill. And I was like, you know what? I need to give it a try. I have to start somewhere, even if it's like this utter shit that I feel myself in. Let's just start somewhere. And I started going for little runs, and I I think that's when I started running, and I ran for like a whole year, and it was a good start. So 2024 came, and I still had eczema, but it wasn't on parts of my body that weren't really people couldn't really see at first sight. So for that, I'm really grateful. But it was still there. But I knew that I just have to start somewhere and then do little steps forward and just try to get to a stable place. So I would say that in that aspect, it was really great. But I think spiritually, I was still very unstable because I thought nature and the universe and all that feels like it's really calming and really soothing, but it's really not. It's you are very dependent on it, and I felt very, very kind of like in the air. If if I think that those people that practice New Age practices um, have a better sense of it. They know what I'm talking about. It's this kind of like, let's see what the stars are telling us today. Let's see what this means. Let's see what this symbol means.
Mm.
It was, and I was kind of like all the time thinking in the air, just overthinking a bit stuff, and yeah. Nevertheless, it brought me to the path of hypnotherapy, which I didn't get myself done, but I wanted to see what it was about and if it could help me. So instead of going for someone to a hypnotherapy session, I said, you know what? Because I had been working in a co op for some time. So that's a store here in England. Um, I had some money saved and I invested it in a hypnotherapy course. And it was, I think, the first time I had ever invested such a big quantity into myself, like this amount of money into myself. But I was glad because I bought it around March 2024. Yeah, 2024. And I said, right, I've got a commitment now. And that was like, it was little steps towards committing to myself. And I'm really glad that I did that. I met there really, really interesting people. I made their very good friend, Sanj, and we gave each other so much encouragement and hope and love. I needed that. Nevertheless, right, so thing around August time, um, I said, well, I'm doing fine. And, I'm in control of everything that happens to me because I'm so relaxed. And I said, well, hypnotherapy is a big thing now. Let's start a business. And so I prepped everything. I had my website, I had my cards, my newsletters. I went around the villages around here and I posted on Facebook, and I had my own email list. And I was like, yeah, this is going great. Like, I'm being such a, I don't know, I think it was this issue of knowing that I was finally in control kind of thing.
Mm.
But I was not. I was really not. And because at the same time, I invested on another course, which ended up being a scam. And I thought that I would get a bit of a side job from it. Did not happen. So now I was in debt. And I realized, wait a second, have I just been how do you say that? Too,
Bamboozled.
too positive about all this. Have I just been living in this cloud of fantasy? And then I looked at myself and I was like, well, I still have eczema. How come, like, I've been doing all the breath work and all the yoga and all the hypnotherapy, and I still got eczema. So what's going on here? I'm supposedly my business is going well because I'm doing all the right things, but no one seems interested, and I'm actually having no clients. And then financially wise, I'm broke. I'm officially broke. What's going on? What's happening? So I think I hit another low there, but it was in a different way. It wasn't a depression as it was beforehand. Because I don't know if you've ever heard this phrase. I'm going to be paraphrasing, but it's like you fall back to the systems that you have put up. So my systems of, commitment and all the work I had done previously, I think that I was falling back into a little cushion instead of a full-blown depression. So I simply kind of like quietened down. I stopped everything. I was like, I need some time off, but I'm not gonna go all crazy. Because one of the things I used to do was go back. There's a field back here at the back of my house, of this house, and I used to go around there and cry my soul out in there. Did not do that this time. I simply thought, I'm not in control. Who is? And I think that at the same time, what happened is that hypnotherapy, even if it was in itself very demonic, I would say that now, and I think I'd be right if it's mixed up with New Age and New Thought ideas, is that it gave me this background in which I could understand Christianity from a whole different perspective. So it began as I was finishing my course, and I started to understand that the big thing in hypnotherapy is surrender. And that the more you can trust the surrender that you have, and sorry, 1 second, just things coming up here on my screen. Right, so surrender. And this word just stuck in my head. I was like, surrender, surrender, surrender. And there was a moment I said to myself, okay, but surrender to what or to whom? And that's when kind of like Christianity popped up, and I was like, I actually don't know really much about it, even though I had been brought up partially in a Catholic school. I didn't really have a feel towards it. I was like, you know what? Let's just see what it's all about. So I found this group of women that had a podcast called From New Age to New Heart, because I didn't really understand what the New Age was, or what the concept of what was the difference between Christianity and the New Age and New Thought. So I'd say Melissa, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's Doherty, maybe. So you can find her on YouTube. And then From New Age to New Heart. Those were very, very informative places for me, because I realized that actually Christianity is the way. Jesus is the way. It's not just Buddha or me making a god out of myself. That's not how it goes. And yeah, and I started to understand the concept of Christianity and how it was different from the New Age concepts. I also watched testimonies from people that left New Age behind, or just normal people that struggle with alcoholism or all kinds of addictions. I was like, laziness. I really leaned onto the testimonies. I cried my eyes out with them. There's also this guy, Anton Wisbisky. If anyone knows him, he's got, his videos are usually from 1 hour to 3 hours long. But I think those kinds of videos are the most, they're just filled with so many gems, and I'm so grateful that he's published those things. So I realized I also watched a few movies, The Passion of the Christ, a few Disney movies around Christianity, religion, Moses, the Prince of Egypt. I'm sure you know that one. Joseph, the King of Dreams. And I was like, yeah, I think Christianity is it, because I actually don't have all the control, and I think I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm too overwhelmed sometimes. I go from one extreme to the other. I need to find kind of like a neutral place. So yeah, it was around January this year that I decided on a random Sunday, was I think 6:15, and I said, I want to go to church. just want to go to church. And because I knew the pastor, because I worked at the co-op, and we had a few conversations about philosophy, Christianity, because I love deep conversations. I said, I know him. I know he's there. I might as well go. And I went with my working clothes, just from working in the allotments. Smelled really bad. I was like, I just have to go. I need to see what that is all about. And I think that same evening, they had a sermon on, I always forget the name, but it's basically, we cannot do everything on ourselves, and we're complete in God. I bawled my eyes out. In there. It felt like it was just directed to me at that moment, and I was like, goodness, how come no one had told me about this? I mean, it's not like I'm giving away my life or anything, but I realized that I have not been here on myself all the time, that there's someone caring and loving, and that he wants me, and that he tells me that I don't have to have all the control in the world, and that he has it. So I was like, goodness, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does, because I don't. I'm not a god. And yeah, then I started going, well, a few issues happened. So I showed an interest towards Christianity, and I think my mum didn't take it very well. I don't know why. I think it's because there was some issues from the past from me when I was in a depressed state. When I actually left my house for 3 days to a friend's house without telling anything, without them knowing where I was. So I think that kind of like came up when I said that I want to be a Christian. And she immediately accused me of wanting to become a nun and leaving the house. So I think to normal people that makes no sense, but to her, that's how she thought. So yeah, I think that also the fact that I was going into something that she was not, felt for her that we were kind of like separating our ways. And she told me, like, Teresa, you go your way, I'm going my way. But in essence, she was offended. She is deeply into the New Age, so she doesn't do any rituals or practices, but thought-wise, she is deep in there. So I think that's why she had such opposition to this. And that was hard. That was really hard, because I was not allowed to go to the allotment with her. I had to take my bike every day to get there, which is a bit far away. She didn't really talk to me. It was a whole month where it was really difficult. But I knew that there was truth in what I saw there in church, and I didn't want to offend her because I love her, and I'm really grateful for all the things that she's done for me. But I will follow truth. So I kept going. I went on foot. which is half hour away first. But then as I started making friendships in church, people offered up to drive me. And that's what's been happening since. And I'm really grateful for them. Started going to Bible studies on Wednesdays and then Sunday evenings. And yeah, it got a bit better in the house with time, with patience and understanding. And yeah, I really, I knew that I wanted to become a Christian. I knew that this was truth. Nevertheless, well, before the nevertheless, I said, I went, whenever I had a conversation with someone, I was like, do you know about Jesus? So I was again, I was a bit in this cloud of, very much hope, and which is great. It was a great time for me. I was, despite all the things that were happening in the house, for the first time ever, I felt so much peace in my soul. So much peace. It's for someone that's mentally unstable. I think this feeling is just it's pure bliss. It's pure bliss. So I started telling everyone that I was going to get baptized, and I was really looking forward to it. I started my course, which was around 1 month. So that's, when I told you, yeah, give me a month and then we'll have the chat. But in the meantime, something happened. So as I started posting on my Instagram, a random dude came forwards on my private messages and questioned me about my beliefs. And I didn't know where he was coming from, because usually some guys pop up and they're like, oh, I want to have your number, this kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, no. But not this guy. He was just like, I think, have you thought about this, or have you thought about that? I was like, who are you? Who are you? I know what truth is. I mean, what? It was very condescending and egocentric, and so wrong from me to be this self-righteous. Funny thing is that he was the kindest, most humble soul, and had all the patience in the world when I got so defensive and so whatever. And I actually saw that I had some holes in my beliefs that I couldn't really explain. So I started researching. I started asking questions, not to him because I was still offended. But I then said sorry because I realized that he might have been right. And we started talking a bit, and I started to realize that there's different denominations, and not all Christians are the same kind of thing. Even though we all we all follow Christ, and it's kind of like the common denominator in all the denominations.
Right.
It's different. It's very, very different. And that's when I started looking into Orthodoxy and questioning all the beliefs I had acquired from January from Christianity. Because all the sources I had been looking into were evangelical or Protestant, yeah. So different Protestant denominations or evangelical denominations, yeah. So I realized, what? I don't understand a single thing, because Orthodox Christians, what they do is they venerate. They do not worship. They venerate Mary, so they're Theotokos. They have saints. Catechism takes from 6 months to a whole year, which in itself kind of like shows the commitment they have to a person committing to a church. And they've got the Eucharist is not taken just as a mere symbol, but you might know it as transubstantiation, which is the name Catholics give it. There's not such a name in the Orthodox Church, but to explain simply, it's the belief that it truly becomes the blood and the body of Christ. So I did not understand a single thing, but it would have been so easy to judge it. But I said, no, I'm not going to judge it. I'm going to come to it with an open mind and curiosity and a wish to understand why they believe what they believe. And watching different interviews with different fathers from the Orthodox Church. I think one of the most famous one is Josiah Trenham. He's an Orthodox archpriest. I don't know if that's the name they give him, but back in America, and different ones around Eastern Europe and Europe itself. And I started to see religion, tradition, and Christianity from a whole different perspective. It was very eye-opening. The weird thing is that I haven't read the whole Bible, and I'm quite new to Christianity itself. So this felt like a massive jump. So what happened then is I tried to intellectualize everything. I tried to come with my mind first instead of my heart, soul, and experience, which wasn't really fruitful because I got to a point where I had understanding but not experience. So that kind of like doesn't go together, and it put me in a bit of a dark place again. But it wasn't depression, just a bit of a low. I was having conversations now with three Orthodox people, and with my pastor. Every week I was going to the course, and as we were talking about the different aspects of Christianity, I questioned things, and why is it that this is this way and you don't do this? And what happened, we had 2-hour conversations. And what I could see is that I was coming from a place of wanting to understand and of curiosity, and he was coming from a place of defensiveness and self-righteousness. And that in itself taught me a lot. I was like, actually, this is how I was just before coming to try to understand, which is a paradox that I think all Christians, in one moment or another, find ourselves in. We think we've grasped it, but we really haven't. There's always, I think, humility is now for me such a core value, which when I compared what I saw in the Orthodox Church to the Baptist church that I was going to, in the Baptist church, all I could see was that the Lord has saved us, so we kind of like lay back and we just live while we wait for life to go by and to reunite with the Lord. Whereas in the Orthodox Church, the Protestants would blame them, and the Catholics, well, I'm not going to go into Catholicism, but would blame that it's works-based. It's not. It's not. I thought it was, but then I understood is this cooperation. We kind of just lay back. We're called to carry our cross. So to be a Christian is to go through the most is the most worthwhile thing to do in your life, the most important thing you'll ever do, but also the most cruel and tortuous and arduous thing you'll ever do, because you're carrying your cross. And it's true that Christ says that that we can give him our burden, but ultimately life is here and now, and we have to face stuff, and we have to be realistic about the context we're in. So, yeah, with time, I got to understand that Christianity is the fulfillment of Stoicism because it gives Stoicism a why. So, that's, yeah, I'm not going to go in there, but I figured that out the hard way. But I got there, and I'd say I'm quite happy. I'm really not. I mean, who's ever happy? But I'm content, so that's good. And well, before that, or as that was happening, I went 2 weeks ago, so very recently, to an Orthodox church that's 30 minutes away, but by car now, so I've got to take my car to get there. It's in Northampton, and I went there because I knew that I was being told by my friends that I just have to experience orthodoxy. I cannot just live it in my head. And I was coming to that conclusion too. We cannot just, I think some Christians, when they think, oh, I don't need church, I can just read my Bible and be by my, no, you cannot, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. So I went there 2 weeks ago to a divine liturgy. Wow. It was very, very intimate and it was so different. So different. And, I understand that from a Protestant perspective. You'd say, oh, you don't need all the beautiful things in a church. We come here for the message. I understand that, but why would you take away the beauty that it has been given? It feels like it's been stripped away, and Protestants have just left the skeleton from Christianity when it has so much beauty when you put the flesh in there. That's how Orthodoxy now looks to me. It's, yeah, I actually I don't know how to describe it. I've tried to describe it to other people, but I'm like, you just have to go and experience it for yourself. It feels otherworldly. It's, for a moment, it really seems like you're in heaven. For 2 hours, you're standing up in there for whole 2 hours. And then all that happens is prayers, sung prayers, and singing, choir singing. And, this not Gregorian chants, but just chants. And they seem like very ancient, taken from ancient times, but they sing it in English so that the lay people, we understand it. And the sermon itself is just 5 to 10 minutes. And I realized how much in the Protestant church they're based on emotionalism rather than just communing with God and worshiping Him. And I got to understand it also a bit on myself, because I was trying to give up some stuff, some sins that I saw were happening. And I got very frustrated with myself, and I quieted down again, and I realized, goodness me, I need to humble myself. Like, what's going on? And I realized that at one moment, all I could do was crochet, like crochet. There we go.
Crochet.
Yeah, that's all I could do. I had to completely give up. I could not argue God with God. I was like, I'm too confused and lost, and I don't know what is what. I don't know who you are, God, anymore. So I just crocheted it. I watched an anime that actually helped me so much. It felt like God was just talking for me. I was like, right. But I realized how important, because in the Orthodox Church, for example, they prostrate. So, which is basically you lay face down on the ground in church or in your house or wherever. And I realized that's what I was, in a way, doing myself. I could not worship God with words or my mind or my heart. All I could do is worship with my body. So that's what I did. Even though I wasn't really worshiping, but it felt like I was. I was like, I want to keep up with you, but I don't know how, or I don't know. And I added 1+1, and I was like, it just makes sense. It just makes sense to me now. And now I'm in the point where I'm going to be starting catechism in this Orthodox church, because last 2 weeks ago I came to the father, said, look, I actually messaged him. They're so bad with technology. They really are. And I said, I would like to start having a catechism in here, because I've
Or
been
the
looking
father
into
of the
Orthodox.
church.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
In my mind
So,
at first, I thought it was capital F father, like
well, it is. It
God.
is, isn't it? I think it is.
What?
Wait, no, wait, not the Father, the Godhead.
Yeah, when you
No.
said father,
Yeah.
I thought you meant capital H, like the Most High.
No, 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 no.
But
I
you're
was,
talking about the leader of the church.
yes, yes, exactly. So, and just a week ago, mentioned, yeah, we're going to start soon. So, hopefully next week. And that's where I'm at. That's my testimony. And of course, I could talk about my nails. Okay. I've got nails now. I used to bite my nails, which is a clear sign of anxiety, isn't it? I also used to rip off my nails on my toes, on my feet. hmm Not doing that anymore.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. All through Christ. Glory to God.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I've never felt so much peace than with Him. He's
Hmm.
got me. And I know that the only way to find peace is to give Him our lives. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's it.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much, really. Everyone has their own personal testimony, their own story, and so it proves that just anyone really can come to Christ as long as they sacrifice themselves, right, their own bodies,
Oh,
and they submit
mm,
to the Lord's will.
that's a big one. Such a big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah. I mean, that's what Christianity is, isn't it? Just constant self sacrifice.
Carrying the cross. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we expect a crossless Christianity, then you're not a Christian. Like,
Right.
of course, you could be like, oh, goodness, but that's suffering and pain. I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. I'm sorry. Yeah. And, I cry myself, to sleep too. But I think at different points, everyone does. And the point here is that Christianity helps us to accept that fact and just keep going. Just have Christ in our minds, in our hearts, and
Mm.
keep going.
Yeah.
It was good talking to you, Curtis.
Thank you. Yeah, of course, of course. We could talk
Was it
more
was it very
sometime.
long? How long has it been? I cannot see this.
That's fine. I think it's been like an hour.